Five Nights at Freddy's is everywhere. Consoles, mobile, VR, it's even on the big screen now. But for a decade, the community has been obsessed with putting Freddy Fazbear where he doesn't belong. From homebrew projects for the PS2 to bizarre ransomware ports that look like they were pulled from the deep web, this is the history of the weirdest FNAF ports ever made. And if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you guys hit like and subscribe. This is the Glockosama 2 channel, so make sure you guys join the Glockosama family. I love all of y'all, and let's get straight into the video. And stay till the end to learn about this port that nobody knows about. So before the Click team brought the official core collection of consoles in 2021, fans took matters into their own hands. And the most famous example, you ask, the Nintendo 3DS. While FNAF 1 was almost perfect on the handheld, the others were a mess. FNAF 2 often crashed at 6 a.m., and FNAF 3 was notoriously unplayable because you couldn't seal the vents. The 3DS ports are all available on GameJolt as well as other devices, but if you're going to download them, make sure you guys thread with caution because you never know what type of wear is inside of it. It could be some damaged wear. You don't want to end up with a virus on your computer, but it is all portable, and who would have thought that Five Nights at Freddy's would ever be playable on the Nintendo 3DS? So as of now, this fan-made port of FNAF into the 3DS is the only Five Nights at Freddy's that is available on the Nintendo app. What did you just say? You said that FNAF is available on Nintendo Switch? For Five Nights at Freddy's to be available and playable in a hardware that's almost about like 10 to 12 years old, it is definitely an interesting port in and of itself. Another Five Nights at Freddy's port that is very interesting and is the reason why I am making this video entirely, because I was scrolling to YouTube and I was able to find this video. I don't know, it just stumbled upon my feed. Nobody is talking about is PS Freddy, the unofficial PlayStation 2 port available on the PlayStation 2. It was a legendary project in 2015 that aimed to bring Scott's original code to 2000s hardware. It never reached a polished final state, but it's proved one thing, that the community was determined to play FNAF on anything. And now if this was available on the Xbox 360, that would make me excited because I do not own a PS2. I own an Xbox 360. But regardless, when you watch this game, it genuinely looks like a game that was made at that time. And honestly, bro, there's nothing more beautiful than watching nostalgic Five Nights at Freddy's. It makes it look like one of those mods on Minecraft, you know, those PXX mods, but on Five Nights at Freddy's. And honestly, it looks a lot scarier on this version. Of course, this wouldn't be a Five Nights at Freddy's port video if it wasn't for the weird mobile port meme, as it was a bunch of distorted animatronic models and Russian texts sprinkled throughout. It was a popular fan game, and of course this isn't an original Five Nights at Freddy's port like the other games where they literally just ported Five Nights at Freddy's into Nintendo and into PS2, but still I think it wouldn't be right if I didn't mention it. In the late 2024 and throughout 2025, a new trend took over: the weird mobile port. It started with a video of a supposed bootleg Russian mobile port titled, I'm not even going to try to say that, but it translates to Endless Hell at Freddy's. The animatronics look like melted plastic. The jump scares were just static images, and it allegedly demanded Bitcoin to unlock your phone. It was half meme, half analog horror, and became so popular that the fans actually built playable versions of it, like FNAF Weird Mobile Port. The game is specifically to recreate that creepy found footage. Did y'all just see that shit? It's specifically to recreate that creepy found footage vibe. And originally these ports were just videos. You know, some talented developers were able to actually make this into a playable game. And therefore, this is why this is included in the video. I thought it'd just be cool to include this. One of the weirdest and worst, as well as, you know, just absolutely terrible, dangerous fake ports. And in the name fake ports, you already know where I'm getting at. Not every port was a labor of love. The Stingray port was a notorious version of FNAF 1 found on shady Google Play clones, and it ran about 5 frames per second, added a lives counter that did nothing, and featured a character called Saint Freddy. Even worse were the ransomware ports. Fan games disguised as viruses like FNAF Plus 2, their used fourth wall breaking horror pretended to spy on the player's desktop or encrypt files as part of the gameplay. It's a subgenre of ports that turned a simple jump scare into a literal nightmare for your PC. And sometimes these were just jokes, but other times they genuinely would infect your PC with viruses. So like I said earlier, if you're going to download one of these games, please make sure that there isn't any hardware that is, damaging to your PC, because, I don't want to be the guy to get you hacked and then you hate me forever and then you never subscribe and then you never watch Glocksum again. Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe, because, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help you all out. I know we spoke on the fan-made console ports, but most of Five Nights at Freddy's games have been ported to the Xbox One and Xbox Series S, including the original series, Sister Location, Freddy Fazbear Pizza Simulator, Ultimate Custom Night, Security Breach, and Secret of the Mimic, often bundled or sold individually via the Microsoft Store, with Click Team handling many ports and adding features like cheats, but sometimes facing criticism for clunky controller controls compared to PC. A lot of people don't really enjoy playing these games, especially games like Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Simulator and Ultimate Custom Night. It's a lot more buttons that need to be used, and when you port that onto a controller, it's not really that easy for the port, only so many buttons compared to a keyboard. But games such as FNAF 1, FNAF 2, where you're really only clicking about 1 to 2 buttons, as well as, turning side to side, you're not really doing much. So those games are much more well loved on the Xbox platforms, and those games are also, like I said earlier, are on the Switch and the PS4 and PS5. So, Freddy Fazbear is just everywhere for anyone and everybody to enjoy and love. And they also actually released newer games such as Into the Pit and Secret of the Mimic, which makes a lot of sense because Click Team, Scott Cawthon himself, as well as every developer on the FNAF team, they have completely skyrocketed in sales, and, releasing these games onto not just Steam, but consoles economically is pretty smart and intelligent. I think one of the most impressive ports in this entire list is the calculator version of the game. Yes, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 or Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is playable on the TI-84 and 83, which is, a scientific calculator. If you guys never been to school, I guess never took algebra, you wouldn't know what that is. But if you guys have took algebra, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And yes, you are able to download from your computer and port it onto your calculator the entirety of Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Now the calculator, I guess, resolution, all that shit is pretty ass, but the fact that it is playable and running and you are able to play the game, it speaks in and of itself how impressive that is. And I just could not add that type of port. I mean, that is insane. And let me know down in the comments below if you guys find that interesting. And I'm also going to link down a video below, because they made this back in 2015 of this guy that was able to explain how to port it onto your calculator. I don't know any of that shit. I'm not really a tech whiz as well as a calculator whiz, so this guy definitely will let y'all know if you guys do have a TI-84, you want to try it out. I'll put the link down below. Another interesting and strange port is the Roblox ports of FNAF. I mean, I don't know if you want to include those, but I made a video on it, so make sure you guys click on that video next after finishing this video. A lot of Five Nights at Freddy's are, I mean, you could really say it's a recreation, but I mean, I'm gonna call it a port because it's basically run down one by one the exact same game just on Roblox. And I actually played the Ultimate Custom Night one, and I'm gonna tell you this honestly, if anything, it's better than Ultimate Custom Night because it has the exact same, layout, but it's actually in 3D as opposed to a bunch of PNGs. And honestly, I prefer the Roblox version. So, it's one of the better ports, if anything, and it's free for one, but I think Ultimate Custom Night is free on Steam. And as of now, he has FNAF 1, FNAF 2, and he skipped all the way to Ultimate Custom Night for whatever reason. And he's also going to make Pizzeria Simulator and Sister Location. And I think he's going to cap it at there because, that's the last FNAF games that were really like point and click. But yeah, that's one of the most interesting ports. And finally, the last port that we're going to discuss today in this video is the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 TikTok port, which if you guys didn't watch not my last video, but the one before that, then you guys would see that FNAF 2 is actually playable on your TikTok app. Yes, you hear me correctly. It is actually playable on your TikTok app. You are able to go onto TikTok and play Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And I'm going to put a link down below because you guys were asking last video to put a link. And I did put it. So, if you want to go on that video and click that link or whatever, but I'll put it down here as well. Basically, the way that it works is it's just a bunch of PNG images on top of each other like the regular game. If you go onto the TikTok app and you go search effects, you are actually able to see a FNAF 2 effect. And when you click play, or like record a video, you set your video to 10 minutes or whatever, you are actually able to play the Five Nights at Freddy's 2. But they do start you at night 7, which makes the game almost impossible to beat. So let me know down in the comments below if you guys were able to beat it. I personally wasn't. I'll pin your comment if you have proof though. You guys show me proof. You feel me? And you also got to subscribe too. and then I'll pin your comment. But that is all the weird Finance at Freddy's ports today that we are going to discuss. Let me know if I missed any, and let me know if you guys found this topic interesting, or if you play FNAF in some weird versions. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video, and make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, clock. I'm gonna love you guys. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.